Good morning, YouTube. How y'all doing? Happy Wednesday morning. We're going to talk about Queen Sugar. We're going to talk about Queen... Give me 1 second here. Queen Sugar, Season 5, Episode 2. Okay, so we're seeing where this is going now. This season is primarily going to be about COVID-19. Right? That's what's going on currently in the world. My mouth still ain't moving right. Well, whatever. I don't even care no more. Anyway, this episode in particular, they talk a lot about COVID-19, the arrival of COVID-19. They're in March because they're going to close. They're going to start their lockdown at April 1st, so they're before April 1st, right? So anyway, the episode opens with Ralph and Darla are planning their wedding. They don't know if it's going to go big or large, but Ralph wants to give his wife her dream wedding, and she in turn wants him to select their honeymoon, his dream honeymoon. And finally, Ralph and I got something in common. We both would like to go to New York. Now, I've been, but it's been a number of years. I wouldn't mind going back to New York. But I don't believe in this thing, traveling by yourself. So going on your honeymoon might be a good thing for Ralph. He wants to get out the country. Okay, next thing we saw a bad side, in my opinion, of Charlie. Charlie is being very rude and nasty to the receptionist because Parker stood her up for a meeting. In other words, she had an appointment for a meeting. She showed up for a meeting on time. Parker was not there. Charlie started off this thing with a very bad attitude towards this receptionist who hasn't done anything to her. You can judge a person's character by how they treat people under them, right? How they treat employees, how they treat waiters and stuff like that. I didn't like that particular part of her personality. I didn't enjoy that at all. She was being very nasty to this woman. Parker is the one that stood her up, not the receptionist. But she was hot. She showed up there. Parker is missing. Just guessing, I'm thinking that Parker is going to be seen to someone about this COVID thing. More than likely, we know who her father was, right? Her father is this, what's their name? Boudreaux. Her father is this Boudreaux guy. I'm guessing that since she has stood her up and canceled all her appointments for that day and disappeared, it's probably something to do with COVID. Because that is the theme of this whole episode, right? Just guessing there. Hollywood and Prosper are supplying his new... I guess they have to identify what this thing he's doing is. Is it it's sort of like a gentleman's club or a men's club, but it's not really big enough to be... it's not like a country club. It's like more like it's a hangout spot for men. He has crowns as his logo. Kings. They're all kings. Anyway, Prosper is helping him. But Prosper is getting very nervous about this COVID thing. The light just changes on its own. Forgive me. Prosper is very nervous about this COVID thing as well because he is the older character in this whole series. Him and Vi, I don't know how far behind Prosper she is. But she has got an underlying condition as well. Pretty serious underlying condition. But for right now, they're framing around him being very, very nervous. And as well would be the girl, what's her name? Parker's father. He's old as dirt too. All right, so they're setting up the place. They're putting in books. So they're going to have books in this place. I guess kind of like a hangout place with people can read. You probably have Wi-Fi there and hang out there, kind of thing. Prosper is going on to tell Hollywood the story about how they used to gather like that, and slowly people just started doing their own things, starting their own families, whatever, and it kind of dissolved. But they used to meet all the time, the men in this town, right? Next thing we see is Darla is up for a promotion on her job, She is extremely nervous about this promotion on her job, right? I guess she's very insecure about her past. She feels like she has to invoke that in everything. And Charlie's going to help her to understand later on that, first of all, she already works for the company, so they already know who she is. They've already hired her once. This is for a new branch of this company. But she is very insecure about this interview. She wants to advance. She's still a little bit stuck on her past, is my opinion. My impression. Right. But apparently this could be a very good job for her. Nova goes to meet Calvin's family. Now, she's from last week, we can see that she was very nervous about meeting Calvin's family. Calvin seemed to be more concerned than anything about his grandfather, because his grandfather was from a different era, and they are in the Deep South. But she goes to the party. His mother, Calvin's mother, is very gracious, very nice lady. She likes Nova. She's very welcoming to her. Then we see the grandfather. And the grandfather, he seems fine, like a perfect gentleman, old guy, you know. It's not a problem. And even his daughter, he has two kids, Calvin, I believe, a young daughter and a teenage son. The daughter is fine. Nova brings her a little present, little necklace thing. She puts it on her. And she seems to be pretty accepting, right? And then we get to Calvin's ex-wife shows up. And this is a family gathering. So far, everybody, she's felt maybe a little bit, they show a little bit of stubbing by some of the other guests. But no one is directly rude to her or anything. No one treats her badly. Until the ex-wife shows up and asks Ms. Nova, how does it feel to be the other woman, the homewrecker, basically? And then she goes on to tell her, like she's dropping the tea now. You know you're not the only one. Tell her how many black girlfriends you've had, Calvin. He's always had a taste for such and such, such, such. Usually they're bigger, those big old asses and whatever. So Nova just tells her, calm the hell down. Be careful, woman. Now, Nova, you can't beat up all them white people. So we're glad that they didn't get into anything. She walked away from that situation. But the girl was starting to get real racist and real nasty. But this is the ex-wife, the wife who he left to be with Nova. So we can't be surprised. But it brings up an interesting topic. This topic of fetish. I've had my own personal experience with this issue. Because Nova, a couple of scenes later, they show Nova and Calvin walking in the park. She's obviously agitated. He confronts her. Eventually it comes out. How many black women have you been with? And do you fetishize black women? All this kind of stuff, right? I have been to that. I remember thinking as a young guy myself that, is this person, are they only interested in me because I'm black? Does it like only black people? Or, baby, that argument makes no damn sense. Because just like he's attracted to you, what do you think he supposed to? Of course he's attracted to other black women. He likes black women. He chose you. He chose and fell in love with you. So what if he likes black women? For me, and you like white men, apparently you liked him. People always say, oh no, it ain't the only ones. It ain't the only ones. Girl, people always got to justify what they like. They just like it. I like you. So it's not an insult if the guy likes black women. It's not a bad thing that he likes black women. In my opinion, baby, I'm getting deep here. She shouldn't have been so concerned with him, the idea that he likes other black women other than her. She should have been concerned with all this damn cheating. Because apparently he's had many of these women. So if he's cheating on her, my concern would be more like, not about what kind of women you like, but the fact that you're cheating on your wife many, many times. Because apparently she didn't know. She thought she was the onlyest one. No matter what color they were, he was a cheater. And that's what you need to be concerned about, girl. Because if he cheated on his other wife, what happens when your relationship gets stagnant? Baby! Excuse me, people. I have to get rid of my child because there are people in the hallway. Come here, sweetheart. Come here, you little darling. Get your ass over here, you monster. Come on, baby. Get a bum over here. Get a bum in here. Come on. Yeah, be quiet. Hello, people. We just had to put our child in timeout. Okay, where are we at? Okay, so he goes on. He tells her how special she is to him, and she is the one he has chosen to be his woman. It is her. I'm in love with you. They make up. Nova has to get over herself. He's attracted to you. That's not a bad thing. Whether he likes your eyes, or he likes your ass, or he likes your color, whatever he likes you, honey. He's attracted to you. You are equally attracted to him. There's nothing wrong with that. The issue to me is that he cheats a lot. Now, his argument will be, I was never in love with my wife. This is what he told the woman at the party. Nova's the only one I've ever loved. The other ones I just put up with, including, everybody. So she starts having a little teary eyes, whatever. He never loved his wife is what he's saying. But yet he had 2 or 3 children with her. Okay. Charlie coaches Darla. Charlie's a professional woman. Darla did at one point work for Charlie. Then they fell out with Darla. And so now she joined the regular working world. I think it's an insurance company. Darla's real nervous about this, how to present herself at this interview. But her boss put her up for the promotion. So he felt, the person who worked with her, felt that she should be considered for this job. Right? Charlie's coaching her about having confidence, how you present yourself, and so forth. So they've made up now. Before, everybody seemed to hate everybody, right? Everybody hated Darla because she had a past and all this kind of stuff, and of the parentage of their son, all this kind of thing. Now they've all made up. Now they've all made up with Nova. With Nova, the situation was she wrote this tell-all book, and the whole family fell out with her. That's all over with now. Okay. Micah invites both his parents to this event at his school. Some kind of, I don't know, Parents' Day kind of thing. They can see where he's at, and they bring out some of these fraternities. They do little performances. I think the big thing now is stepping. I think it's called stepping, where they do this, all this stuff with their feet. They put on a little performance. Well, and they had the mask on. And this is about how he introduces them to the fact that he's now pledged this, or he's joined this fraternity. Charlie is instantly not happy about this fraternity, because apparently this is not the best fraternity. Right? A couple of scenes later, she confronts him, and she says that he could have. Why didn't he approach his father's fraternity? His father went to the same college, and he said, "I went there. They didn't want me." She says, all it took would have taken was a phone call. I mean, obviously they're alumni at that school. Davis is a star coming from that school, probably one of their primary stars coming from that school. He could have easily gotten him into fraternity. Micah says, I didn't want to come that way. Our fraternity is not so bad. It looks like this fraternity might be trouble. So why are they making such an issue out of him joining this fraternity? If they were just going to have him join a fraternity, he's going to go to college, everything's going to be fine. They wouldn't have, I don't think, spent so much time on this, the idea that he is joining this thing. Right? But so far, these kids haven't done anything wrong. It's just not the fraternity she would have chosen for him. Um, I guess Davis's fraternity, they produced senators and congressmen, lawyers and doctors and all this kind of stuff. It would be one of the primary fraternities in this school. I don't know if it's SBCU or not, but it seems to be a lot of black people at this school. So it may well be an SBCU. She's not. She's never been really all that into his choices, but she was the mother, and now he's going into manhood, and he makes that plain. I'm 20 years old now. I'm not a little kid. Whatever. I'll make my own decisions. I don't know how you parents put up with these kids though, because they always, whenever they show the teenager, even when they're showing Calvin's teenage son, he's the one with the attitude, right? It seems like teenagers always have attitude about everything. You know, they always got their nose stuck up. They're always mad. It's that process of going from being a child to being an adult. That middle ground is something else, honey. So it always seems to me he's on the verge of being a little bit disrespectful to his mother. Davis didn't get much of a scene here. He barely spoke. I would think that he would have a reaction to him joining a different fraternity than his father as well, but they didn't play that scene out. Okay. Okay, Charlie confronts Micah. Oh, I've covered a lot of this already. Okay. So Kiki and Micah, they're back together. I'm glad to hear about that. That was his love in high school, and now they're in the same school. During this event, when they were dancing or stepping or whatever they were doing, Kiki was spending a little time over there with some guy serving refreshments, and Micah. They showed us Micah being aware of her talking to this man, right? Then when they're getting together later, he brings up this guy. Who is that guy? So my guess, there's going to be a problem with this guy. More than likely, Michael's going to have a problem and punch this guy or something like that. It seems like he's showing signs of being jealous and possessive. She explains that this is just a friend of hers in a class. I mean, if you're going to be in college, I guess there are going to be other people around Micah. He's showing sign of jealousy. She said he asked her about him dancing with the girls. She said, "Well, I mean, I know we're in school. We're supposed to interact with other people, so she's not affected. But the show makes it plain that he is affected by her talking to this guy, this Middle Eastern guy, in this concession stand. My guess that's going to be an issue. Probably Michael's going to sock him, something like that. Okay." The whole theme of this thing, they keep dropping hints about this coronavirus that's overtaking the world now. They're hearing more about it in other countries, but now it's starting to land on American shores. Nova talks about Trump, how incompetent he was during the whole process. It doesn't say that Calvin is a Trump supporter. It's just saying that he seems to be making mistakes. She says he's totally incompetent, kind of thing. Things that we actually experienced with Trump and COVID and how badly he handled it. At that time, there was only 4 or 5 cases in America. Now the cases are in the millions. So, but this is at the beginning. Because when Charlie calls, and it's going to end with Charlie calling Aunt Vi and giving her a heads up, saying that St. Joe is going to be closing down. Cities are starting to close down. LA has already unlocked down. New York is locking down the following day. And she said it's going to hit here as well. I'm giving you a heads up. You're going to have to close your restaurant for probably 2 weeks. At that time, they're not even in April yet. It said until April 1st. Vi puts a sign up in the door, closed until April 1st. So we got to be in March, right? At that time, they're thinking this is only going to be 2 weeks. We're a year in now, right? Cities are still closing down. But at least we have the virus. I mean, we have the vaccine. I didn't realize that Hollywood and Vi met 18 years ago. Damn. I mean, we know that there's an age difference between them now. She seems to be in her 40s, and he seems to be in his 30s. Maybe it's a 10-year difference, but 18 years ago, that would have mean that he was 18 years old when she met him. 18 or 19. But she was be younger too. Maybe she was maybe 30 then. I don't know. They met 18 years ago though. They're now husband and wife, happily married. Their relationship is going strong. So, but he was very young when she first met him, according to this. Last thing we see is the COVID is all over the news now. They're all sitting in front of the televisions watching this thing. They're all concerned about Mr. Prosper, although they should be. Charlie's learning that they should be concerned with everybody, not just the elderly people, because this is affecting pretty much everybody. And that's kind of where they left it, right? They left it. I think the last scene was Vi closing her shop down, saying they'll be back 1st of April. Of course, that meaning that was a farce. It was just at the very, very beginning of it then. Now we have millions and millions of cases. Okay, so that was Queen Sugar. Queen Sugar episode 2. Right? Hope you guys enjoyed my little critique here or my recap. See you guys next week. Later.